Alright guys, Fatal Ferret here, back for another Ferret's First Take. And today we're going to be looking at a manga that I've severely overdue. I've had this for a while. I finally got around to reading it. I pumped it out so I could finally bring you guys a video on it. We're going to be going ahead and looking at Magika, Swordsman, and Summoner. So, Magika, Swordsman, and Summoner. Where to begin? So, a few things just to say before this story begins, or before I really delve into the story behind the story that is Magika. So the story, it follows a lot of just tried and true manga and anime tropes. The characters are almost written to a T how you would expect them to be, especially in your like dating sim or think, date alive kind of characters. You've got the young sister character who loves her brother a lot. You've got the strong-headed character, even though they really like the main character. You've got the weird, sort of quiet, standoffish character that's sort of quiet and just kind of odd. You've got the shy character. You've got the bubbly, super happy. I mean, just the harem trope is real. It's the harem trope is strong in this one. And I know, like, immediately some of you were like, oh, that just makes it total trash. Surprisingly, that is not true. And as we get into this, I'll sort of just tell you why. So, Magika, Swordsman, and Summoner. Basically, this story I say basically a lot. Like, guys, just go back and count how much I say basically. And so one thing about this, I'll just maybe see the art real quick. The art is phenomenal. If you don't want to see crotch shots, if you don't want to see boobs, if you don't want to see scantily clad ladies, this is not a book for you. This very much is sort of turning into a harem type story, but I'm interested to see where it goes because they're giving an element of it that may not have to be like just like a massive harem and more of a acquaintance friendship type thing, but we'll see how that turns out. And so basically the art is very good. I mean, whoever's drawing them knows female anatomy very well. It's a very compelling art. I mean, what can I say? If you're a guy and you like tits and ass, you're going to like this. It's going to look good. But the question is, does the story hold water? And so, the main character, this is set in a world where it's almost like a fantasy type RPG kind of thing at this point. It used to be normal Earth, but the more I got into the story, the more I was like, okay, this is more of just a like tried and true sort of fantasy story as well. So this is his sister, obviously, and they're a lot closer than they really should be. So he used to be a swordsman, but he was given a mark on his hand by a divine being. So basically, he's going to become a summoner instead. Swordsman, his sister is already a swordsman, and so they are going to like the same school, but there's the summoner and the swordsman are split up, and they don't get along very well. They're two groups of people that seem to be at odds. They think they're better than the other kind of thing. And so the humans have like unlocked, all these mysterious things, and I could go into like all the complicated details of how the story pans out, but basically it's a fantasy world where there are now monsters. You need to have swordsmen and you need to have summoners to be able to fight these monsters, yada yada yada. Gods, and basically a lot of story comes down to also the 72 pillars of Solomon, which become a big thing, especially with who you're like god, diva, magic being in the sky is going to be, especially if you're a summoner, because that's really important. And so you kind of start out, obviously it goes along with also the trope of he's the only boy who's ever become a summoner, basically, and gotten the mark before. So, like when I say it follows tropes to a T and really doesn't try to change that. It just is like, it's just every trope in the book. So, harem, city, here we come. And so this is the student council president. One thing I will say though, even though all the characters follow the trope, they're still all enjoyable and funny because they follow it to such a T. there's really nothing to be guessed at. So I mean, even though there's nothing really special about the characters, I still found the characters enjoyable. One thing also, the main character isn't a massive perv, which really throws me off in these kind of stories. He's more of a more rounded character than that. He's not just your standard. It's not like high school D&D where it's just like, here's your harem, you're a massive perv, go and let live be live. But basically, I said it again, I said basically, but one thing that surprised me with this, like I said, was the art. Lots of tits and ass, but like, I mean, this dragon illustration and the battle elements that I feel are going to be coming are very well drawn. The art is very, it draws you in a lot. Very well done. It's not all just a lot of the art revolves around the female characters and their armor. I mean, let's be serious here, and how they transform into all that good and happy stuff. So, you know, you have your characters, and basically your main character, I said it again, gosh, I gotta stop saying basically. So our character, I guess you could say, sort of evolves his power, or is able to unlock his power, and then just being, what do you know, a naked girl pops out, instead of him just, you know, having different powers. So, like I said, tropes abound. So you find out as eventually our character goes, which is what Summoner or Magika, whatever you want to call it, adds an interesting element. So basically, I gotta stop saying that. So you find out that she is not part of the 72 pillars. He basically is going to be stronger than all the rest. He can draw off power of the people he's close to. So she wants him to basically become a harem king. And then that really threw me off. I'm like, oh, I was really enjoying the story up until that point. It was really drawing me in. I was like, okay, that's stupid. But then you find out that, okay, like, having strong friendships and bonds with these characters also works. So I have a feeling you'll find that they all fall for him in one way or another, but I like the thought of he's not just some perv trying to make them all fall for him, because he doesn't think that's fair to the girls. He's more like, okay, maybe if I can get close to them and we can form, you know, friendships and bonds and relationships, that'll work too, to help me get more power and stuff like that. So yeah, other than that, there's not too much to say about Magika. So I'm not your standard reviewer in the fact that I'm going to go, okay, because the characters are all done before, and the story isn't very unique, and all this thing, so it gets a terrible rating, blah, blah, blah. Basically, what I can say at the end of this is, I did enjoy reading this book. You know, I'm a guy. I thought the visuals were very nice. I thought the action scenes were also done a lot better than you might get in a story like this. There are lots of stories like this. Lots of manga like this, so, but I will say, I think Magika does a little bit better than all those stories do. I'm interested to see what it does for a story, because in series like this, it's so hard to tell what it's going to do. Is it going to be absolute crap, and the story just doesn't make sense? Or is it going to keep going, and actually have like a viable story that I can follow and enjoy? I'm really not sure where it's going yet. I really can't say where it's going yet. I can give you a quick overview as far as my rating system goes. I do a rating as far as story, characters, art, and personal enjoyment. Especially for characters, I didn't give it a super high scoring, because even though I liked all these characters have been done before. There's, other than the awesome designs and how unique the characters are and their looks, I could pull these characters from 20 different anime. So even saying that, as far as story went, the story was more of a midway thing, because it could go either way, and I really couldn't tell in this first volume. The art is phenomenal. The art is very good. Lots of scantily clad girls, but other than that, there's also, the rest of the art is also good. So that's why I really did give the story, the art style of it, a good rating. And then personal enjoyment is just the rest of it. So in the end, I ended up giving this, out of those 5 categories with 5 points each, I ended up giving Magika, Swordsman, and Summoner a 13.9. So that might seem low out of 20, but I think that's still a rather respectable rating. And also, you gotta remember, this is just a first take. This series could end up being a lot higher than that, or it could end up being a lot lower than that. And so, as far as buying this series goes, I, for one, am going to keep buying it. I want to see where the story goes, so I am going to get the next volume. This volume did enough for me to convince me that I would like more of the story, and I'd like to see where it goes. I'm not putting this at the top of the buy it list. I'm not saying that this is a must get, but I think the story was rather enjoyable, and what can I say? I thought it did well enough in the venue it decided to do to warrant me continue reading. Anyway, guys, this manga is available right now from 7 Seas Entertainment. As you can see right there, 7 Seas. And so, give it a shot. If you like magic, if you like pretty girls, if you like the comedy and the harem aspect, those type of shows, this will probably be right up your alley. If you don't like the tropes and the harem types, you won't like it. But anyway, guys, I've been Fiddle Ferret, and I will see you back on the prowl next time. Bye-bye!